Seren opened the door. She sees Ferit standing in front of her with a ring in his hands. Then Dyer comes out of his room, and Senen appears from the elevator. Ferit explains to everyone that he came to Dyer and does not understand what Seren is doing in her room. Seren says it's a coincidence, and Senen notices that these coincidences happen too often. "Aren't you making these coincidences?" Ferit asks Senen. Next, Dyer picks up Ferit, and Seren picks up Senen by numbers. Dyer asks Feria to leave the same way he came. And Senen asks Seren, what is Ferit doing here? Seren suggests Senen ask his mother about it. Ferit asks Dyer not to do this to him and offers to marry him. And Senen is outraged that this is their kind of marriage where her ex constantly appears, and if not, then she runs to him herself. Seren says Senen is making it up. And Dyer tells Ferit that she sees him looking at Seren. And by making an offer now, he is only trying to escape from his dream. Sen expresses his displeasure that Ferit was the first to see the underwear he was choosing for their first night. Meanwhile, Ferit asks Dyer to answer him, and puts a ring on his finger. Ferit begs for another chance. And Dyer sets a condition that he will no longer see Seren. Ferit recalls the difficulty he had in persuading Seren to work with him. Dyer insists, and Ferit agrees. Dyer asks to give her the floor and calls. He promised. Seren suggests Senen leave the room, but Senen says he won't let Ferit ruin their first night. Seren calls him sick. But Senen insists on closing this topic already. Seren loudly demanded to let her go. Ferit heard a noise behind the wall, and Dyer offered to leave. They all meet together again in the hotel corridor. Ferit looked back at Seren several times. Seeing the ring on Dyer's finger, Senen congratulated her. Kazim and Suna brought Hadis to the Kama at home. While I was making coffee for everyone myself, Chadich began to tell that she had left Abidin in an orphanage, not knowing that he was Kalis's nephew. Abidin, who has returned from work, hears the whole conversation. Sun asks her aunt what happened to Abidin's parents. Chadich says that Latif said that they were gone. Kazim tells his aunt that he is already tired of what she used to do. Meanwhile, in the mansion, Ifakat found out and told Orhan that it was his future mother-in-law who set up a trap with journalists near the hospital. After that, Orhan demanded from Nurten that she leave their house immediately. Ifakat tells Orhan that she was disappointed in him because she thought he would send them both away. Serpil is joking about Auntie something will not leave a single woman in the house. Abidin asks Suna how long she has been cheating on him. Suna says she was just afraid something would happen to him. After all, if Kalis wanted to, he would have picked him up right away. Abidin is very offended that he turned out to be a dog at his uncle's house. He understands that mom and dad didn't reject him as a child, they just disappeared. He's glad his mom didn't leave him. When Siren and San returned home, Ayla explains to her son that she chose the best hotel on the list that Tazel sent her. She asks Sinan to tell her what happened. Sen says that they saw Ferit Korhan, and it turns out that this is the hotel of her grandfather and her lover. Ella asks Senan, didn't she forget Siren Ferita? Senan replies that everyone has forgotten each other, and Ferit even proposed to his girlfriend. When he came to Sinan's room, Siren says that his mother had nothing to do with it. And Ayla is happy behind the wall. And he thinks that despite the fact that Ferit is getting married, they will soon separate anyway. And Ferit, seeing Dyer off, asks, won't she have a granny with a rolling pin again? Laughing, Dyer says that now she understands why Ferit proposed to her. She further recalled the promise she had made. Ferit asked what was the big deal if he was going to see Siren for work. But Dyer firmly says that it is impossible, because there will be no turning back after that. Arriving home, Dyer announces to his grandparents that Ferit has proposed to her and will come to ask for her hand in marriage. Grandfather says that Ferit does not inspire confidence in him, and you need to get to know his family first. Ferit, coming home, called his mother and told her that he had made Dyer an offer to Guljan, asked Ferit why he was in such a bad mood, and Ferit told about Dyer's demand not to see Siren anymore. Guljan believes that Dyer is right. And Ferit says that he feels some kind of responsibility towards Siren and will not be able to protect her without seeing her. Siren can't sleep at night, thinking about Ferit all the time. Ferit also remembers Siren, and he is thinking about Dyer's demand.